Okay, so in this video, I'm going to do a reaction video to Matt Walsh's video, which is called Am I an Arsehole Thanksgiving Edition. In this video, he basically expresses his opinion about a number of comments left on the Am I an Arsehole Reddit, which are related to Thanksgiving. But there's one particular comment that kind of really stood out to me. He talked about veganism in his video, and because there was a vegan couple coming over for Thanksgiving dinner, and some of his comments left about veganism are very stupid and silly, and I felt like I should really go over them. So the first comment was that basically he didn't understand why vegans don't eat dairy, and he kind of feels like if we don't drink dairy or eat meat, the animals are going to overrun the place. And secondly, he has this kind of idea in his head that actually plants have feelings, which is again very, very stupid. And so I wanted to kind of react to those comments in this video. I have to say that I do respect Matt Walsh in a lot of situations, and I respect the fact that he's a very good speaker and we agree on most issues. We're both against mass immigration, we're both against sex before marriage, we're both incredibly socially conservative. So I really expected more from him, like a better debate if he was talking about veganism. He just clearly doesn't know much about it at all. And so I feel like it would be good for me to educate him a bit, or any of his subscribers.
Finally, I am married to my husband and we have 2 kids. We are vegans. I am for ethical reasons. My husband is allergic to dairy and so is my 3-year-old. Okay, I'm going to cut it off right there. You are the asshole. I don't even need to know the entire story. Vegans on Thanksgiving are always the assholes. Same with every other time of year, in fact.
God, you're such an asshole.
And I don't want to hear about ethical reasons. See, you won't eat dairy because of you don't think we should get milk from cows. Why? What else should we do with the cow's milk?
Oh, yes!
The cows exist. What are we going to do with the cows, first of all? Like, do you want us to just release them into the wild? What? All of these cows, I mean, I know you could say it's unethical that we have all the dairy farms and everything. It's so terrible that we've enslaved all these cows. What do you want us to do with them? Just release them into the Serengeti? I mean, bring them down to the Amazon? Just like release them into the neighborhoods? Kill them all? Dump them into the ocean? Like, we have them. They need to be milked. And then what do you do with the milk? You might as well drink it. Why not drink it? Why not make cheese out of it?
So in terms of the issue with milk in general, basically, vegans don't drink milk because it is essentially part of the meat industry. There's no way really around this. So what ends up happening is the female cow will produce, half the cows produced will be male, and because they're male, they will be put into veal. So those cows will be put into veal and not have a very nice life there. The female cows will essentially be made to be part of the dairy herd, and so they will continually be made pregnant for around 6 years, and then when their milk production declines, they will be killed. So that's why vegans don't drink milk, essentially. It's because the milk industry is essentially a major part of the meat industry. Even in places like India, where they don't eat beef and they don't eat drink milk, they drink lots of milk and they're lacto-vegetarian. One of the major issues with places like India is the fact that they are the biggest exporter of beef, and it's essentially because of the dairy industry. It's because there are a lot of cows whose milk production has declined. There are a lot of male calves as well, and all of these cows are exported miles and miles and miles away from their home on massive ships because there's no use for them. And essentially what vegans want to do is they want to stop as many cows being put through this process as possible. So the less milk that you drink, the less cows will be put into existence and forced through this terrible lifestyle. Right, so cows would never overrun the place. That's just not ever going to happen in a million years. It's basically because it's a supply and demand issue. So as the number of vegans go up, the number of people buying animal products, for example dairy, goes down. And so what ends up happening is that the farmers have less and less and less cows. because they're not producing as much dairy anymore. And if they end up going out of business, they'll probably sell the last cows that they have either to the slaughterhouse for a small profit on their bodies and sell that meat to people who are still eating meat, or they will give the cows to another farm or maybe a sanctuary. So that's what essentially will happen as the world goes vegan. The world won't go vegan overnight, and so you're never going to have a massive change where the world goes vegan and then everything, like all of the cows have to be slaughtered and no one's going to eat them. That's not going to happen. What will end up happening is more and more people will start eating less and less and less meat, or maybe more and more people will go vegan over time, and then farmers will have an amount of time to adjust. So for example, there have been farmers that have gone out of business selling dairy, and they've started selling flowers instead, growing flowers and selling those. So they'll use the land effectively to produce things that people will want, and they will diversify their business over time. But we won't ever have a situation where we just have cows running all over the place, because that's not going to happen. They'll either cut down on the amount of animals that they have on their farm, or they will decide that they're not really making enough money in this particular business, so diversify into another one. But the animals that they have will be killed to provide meat for the people still eating meat, or will go to another farm. So it doesn't, the kind of immediate change that you're thinking of, where you have all these cows running around the place because vegans aren't eating them, won't happen. You just won't have these cows in existence in the first place.
About the lives of the plants that you're eating. The lettuce that you're eating is a living thing, vegans. It has hopes and dreams and ambitions and feelings. And you ruthlessly chop it up and stick a fork in it and chomp on it while it screams silently in pain, which you ignore those screams.
Take a head of iceberg lettuce, make sure the core is pointing down, and slam it.
So don't come to me talking about ethical concerns, especially on Thanksgiving. You should all...
So the reason that vegans eat plants but don't eat animals is because plants don't have a nervous system or a brain. And the main issue that vegans have with eating animals is the fact that the animals can actually feel pain. I don't think that we should give any rights to any kind of being that can't feel pain and doesn't have the possibility of being able to feel pain in the future. So I think that we should give rights to animals because they can feel pain. I think we should give rights to fetuses because they can feel pain. I think we should give rights to embryos as well, because they have the potential of being able to feel pain and the potential of becoming an actual human being. But giving rights to plants that can't feel pain and never will be able to feel pain, it's a very silly example. And I think that you know deep down that killing animals isn't such a good idea, because I mean, you would go to a strawberry picking farm and you pick the strawberries off the branches, right? But you wouldn't go to a slaughterhouse and, watch the animals being killed. That's not really a nice experience. And, you know the difference between killing a plant and killing an animal. You just, I think, are pretending to plead ignorance in a way. Secondly, if you really care about the lives of plants, it takes 10 kilograms of grain to produce 1 kilogram of beef. And so essentially you're killing more plants by filtering them through animals anyway. And so this argument is kind of ridiculous. It's very silly. And it's kind of sad, because I do expect more from someone like Matt Walsh, who is a very good public speaker, and he's, very good at expressing, his beliefs on being anti-mass immigration, being anti-kids being taught trans nonsense, being pro kind of traditional family. But he's not very good at expressing his beliefs on veganism, and he seems to use very silly arguments which don't hold any particular weight. And so, yeah, thank you for watching, guys. And if you have any comments, please comment them down below. Please like and subscribe to this channel. And yeah, thank you for watching.